Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we will discuss heat wave and its effect on the health. Let us see the first slide because Government of Sindh and Government of Pakistan has already issued the weather department or meteorological department of Government of Pakistan has already issued the warning, and in Hyderabad city, Hyderabad Sindh, the DHO, Dr. Lala Jafar Khan Pathan, and the Commissioner of Hyderabad has also issued the warning to the people of Hyderabad that we can have a problem with the heat stroke. So people who have multiple diseases or they have disabilities and children, they should take care of their health. So ultimately, this problem is of global nature, and you can see in the slide here that the graph shows that the temperature, average temperature, and the temperature at a global level is on rise. These are the figures which show that how the temperature is moving from bottom to highest level, and this is a temperature average, and it is shows about from 50 to 80 years, 1980. But this shows that the global temperature is increasing, and the latest figure we have 2000 and 2020. Second is you can see that another graph shows that the temperature is also rising. The purple color and the blue color shows that temperature is also rising. It was almost every year it is rising. If you see this Y and this X-axis. The same is true again in this graph. This shows that if the temperature will increase, then thermoregulatory failure or the temperature failure, which will lead you the heat exhaustion, heat cramps, and ultimately the sun stroke or the heat stroke. Alteration in the compression expression of the heat shock and proteins, and exaggeration of the acute phase of response. These can be the important physiological and the real effect on the human health. This shows that how the temperature, global temperature increases by various industrial process, transport processes, and other burning, and even the food production, and the food chain system is also using the meat and cooking processes. They are also increasing. This figure also shows that how the health from the heat stroke or from the sun, you can see how the tongue is going out of the face, how the whole system or whole body is affected, and it is miserable to live. And the same is true if you are of the old age or about the 65 years are suffering from some problem. The prevention actually gives us the acclimatize themselves to heat, means you should have little bit exposure, not all of sudden to the high or low temperature. Schedule outdoor activities during cooler times, means early morning or late night. Reduce the level of physical activity. If you have to walk, then try to walk and have some rest, or divide it into some kind of portion. Drink additional water. Consume salty foods because the electrolyte imbalance are the deficiency of the salt, particularly sodium, can lead to dehydration and other electrolyte imbalance. Time spent in air-conditioned environment should be increased, or cool temperature. In rural area, normally you can use the trees and fans. Automobile should be locked and should be little bit parked in a place where they can be safe, because if heat is trapped inside the vehicle and you are suddenly going there, then you can have this kind of problem. Children, if they are unattended in automobile during hot weather, so they should not go in unattended, because they can have the effect of the heat. Two problems: heat exhaustion, in which the temperature is below 103 degree Fahrenheit, and if it is below 103 means you are in the heat exhaustion, but if it is 103 degree Fahrenheit and above, then the danger is of the heat stroke, which is a high emergency, and person can go into coma and can have a sudden collapse of their physiological and other functions. The sweating in the exhaustion will be excessive, but in the heat stroke, there will be no sweating. The skin color in the heat exhaustion will almost be hot, but not as red, and it will be sweating. You can have confusion in the mind, but in the heat stroke, you can have a throbbing feeling of the brain. So if the heat stroke is there, then you should take immediate attention and go to the cooler place, have a plenty of water, ORS, and if it's still more, then you should contact to your health facility or doctor and start cooling your body and having water and lemon and other juices in a plenty of number. But the antipyretic drugs will not help in the heat stroke. So mind it, it is the temperature problem, not. And in the hypothalamus, if the center of the heat regulation or temperature regulation will be failing, then you can have multiple problems. This is another poster which is issued by one of the best hospital in Pakistan, and you can see that the umbrella and children under umbrella are there. Then coming to the last point, I think I thank you very much. And if you will have a preventive mayor and mayors, if you can have trees more planted. Another area is you should have water facilities at every short distance. You can have cool water for your children if they are attending examination or going to school. And if you are visiting or traveling, then you should have information what is the temperature, and particularly the black clothes should not be worn, or deep color black clothes should not be worn, but light and white color is suitable for that. In our culture, the head turban or the dupatta is also one of the protective from the heat stroke. So you should have this kind of cultural practices with you. I think Dr. Hussain Bashkolachi will give you the update information on the various public health and other issues. So heat stroke is very common in the Barrage area, particular desert, Kacho. In Karachi in 2014, many people suffered and hospitals were full with heat stroke. So if you are near the rivers, near the sea, you should try to have a protective layers, and if avoid going directly into the sun. And if you are a worker and you are laborer, then at least you should have some rest time. And same is true, schools can also have a short time of educational activities. And if temperature is more than 103, then we can consider that rescheduling of entire activities is suggested. Thank you very much. Subscribe Dr. Hussain Bashpola to YouTube channel for new and updated information.